Good morning, real life traders. Hope everybody is doing great this morning. Welcome everybody on YouTube. Let me just clean up a couple screens here real quick. Let's see. Chris McCoy, Alex, Rock, a bunch of people joining us this morning. Give me one in the chat, please, if you would. Just make sure you can hear me okay. Beautiful. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So happy Monday for those football fans out there. How about that game last night? Pretty good Super Bowl, right? 3-point game. I enjoyed it. Yeah, win. Pretty awesome. It's a good game. Not so great for those Philly fans out there, but yeah, definitely did not disappoint. Yovaris, good morning. All right, let's see. We got people piling in here from Real Life Trading. We've got everybody joining us here on YouTube. Let me just move this chat around. Let me look at my participants. All right, people are coming into the room as I speak. All right, let's start by taking a look at the broader markets. You should be able to see my charts right now with the S&P, NASDAQ. Good morning, Kyle Bennett. All right, so broader markets. So what are we looking at right now? Well, potential gap up here on the S&P. You can see right here, we've got a little bit of a gap. Nice doji on Friday on the S&P at the bottom of this move. Now, again, I personally am expecting more of a pullback over the next, couple weeks down to this retest this trend line. So maybe a little bounce out of here, roll down, just, slowly. What I would like to see is it slowly stair step down and retest that trend line and then hold and then bounce. What I don't want to see is just a gigantic momentum move from where we are now down to that line. But nice controlled pullback would be nice. On the NASDAQ, we are looking at an inside day today. I'm going to expand this a little bit here. Maximize this screen, zoom out a little bit. Let's take a look at the full year. So again, we're holding nicely above this trend line right now. And that's really the main thing that I want to see is holding above this. It's the first time in the last year we've actually broken above and held. I can zoom out a little bit more so that you can see this full trend line here. So from back here in January, so the first time we've actually broken above the trend line and held. So good look. Could this potentially be the break of that trend line and we start moving bullish again? Would be nice. Lots of factors that come into play, but only time will tell. Again, I do expect some type of a retest further down here. In terms of the MACD RSI, things are looking pretty strong here. We do have this crossover right here, right? So that's typically when you're looking at the MACD or the RSI, this is the MACD, but you're looking for crossovers, right? So this was a crossover here when we made this move bullish and then broke that trend line. We have a crossover now, right? Which is typically a signal that we are going to pull back. So just keep an eye on that. Again, I think it's going to hopefully it takes a couple weeks for that to happen. Same look here on the S&P. And again, we will keep an eye on the broader markets today, especially on the open, just to see where we do open. So again, we're looking at some type of a potential gap up here on the S&P. We do have the 10 EMA here on the daily that we are currently up against. So we'll have to see if we can break through that. We have the 20 down here acting as support. Here on the NASDAQ, if I maximize this sell, we're going to have, again, the same look as we do on the S&P. Zoom out a little bit here, right? So here's that trend line. Again, nice break above it. We're holding. Again, we're starting to get that crossover here on the MACD. So I would expect some type of, a pullback. Again, I'm looking for a nice controlled. See how this is just kind of nicely stair stepping up. That's what I would like to see on this pullback. And, where could we pull back to? Well, again, it doesn't have to come all the way down this trend line. If we throw on some fib retracements and we just go down to around this low here, throw on the fib, we are, anywhere between this 38.2 to 61.8. So we could get close to this trend line. We don't have to go all the way down to it, but we do have, it is nice that looking on a daily picture, we do have all these moving averages now in our favor. So we're above all those major moving averages on the daily. This is the 100, the 50, the 200. Again, on the NASDAQ, we are right up against the 10 EMA on the daily. We do have the 20 here as support. Pre-market movement, higher highs, higher lows. We do have a pullback right now. Started right around 7:30. Right, 7:30. So we'll just have to keep an eye on the remaining, what do we have? The remaining 24 minutes before the market opens. See if maybe we can hold this level where we are now, right? So we've pulled back. We're right on top of, zoom in a little bit. So we're right into this area right here, right? So looking left, this area that was previous resistance broke through it. Now it should hopefully provide support. Same thing here, right? So we're right into this area right here that we went up against here pre-market, got rejected, came up, rejected, and then we broke through. So let's see if this level can hold. Here's a SPY on the daily, SPY on, the Qs on the daily. So what's nice here on the Qs is this is this jagged blue line here. That's the weekly 50. We're sitting right on it right now, right? So definitely, if you can look, Friday definitely provided some support there. We are sandwiched in between the 20 and the 10 here on the daily for the SPY. So overall, we'll see where the markets take us today. If anything, I'm leaning towards bullish for the day, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. It's not really a strong picture right here. We, again, minor gap up, potentially minor gap up here, inside day here on the NASDAQ. So let's take a look at our, let me go to a different chart, take a look at some individual tickers that we track. We'll also look at the scanner and see what we have gapping up here. Okay, so here's NVIDIA. So NVIDIA daily picture, right? So Friday, we had a bearish retest gap, right? So we gapped down, had some initial buying, and then we sold off a little bit. We do have, this is the 10 EMA here on the daily. We have the 20 EMA here. Pre-market, need to adjust a couple lines here. We did make a new low since I did this, probably did all this adjusting of my lines between like 8:30. So some of those I need to adjust as we go through these. We got Christian joining us from Italy here on YouTube. That's pretty cool. Welcome. Just looking over there on the YouTube, I just saw that coming to you from Italy. That's awesome. All right, so morning picture here so far, right? So from 7:30, and this coincides with what we just looked at on the S&P and the NASDAQ. So since 7:30, we've been pulling back here. So we just have to see if this level can hold. Again, right now we are looking at an inside day. So here's this green line is the high from Friday. Here's the low. We are looking at an inside day right now with NVIDIA. So again, when I see inside days, I typically think chop. So we'll just have to see where the market opens, see if it picks a direction. Friday was a little bit of a whipsaw in the morning when I was on, and finally broke the high of that opening range, and we thought that was going to be the move for the day, and then of course it pulled back. So anyway, we'll see. The market, and that's the thing. We have to understand the market's going to do what the market's going to do. We can't control it. We just have to trade what we see, right? So there's NVIDIA on the daily picture again, inside day. We do have this support right here on the 10 EMA on the daily. Take a look at Tesla. All right, so Tesla looking a little weaker than what NVIDIA looked like. We are testing right now pre-market the lows from Friday. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Okay, so daily picture over here. Here's Friday's candle. I have to adjust this line. Looks like we traded pre-market right down to the low from Friday, right? So we'll have to see if that can hold. Let me move this down. So pre-market low is Friday's low right now. In terms of support underneath here, here's the 10 EMA right down here. We have the 100 as well here. So if we do roll over, if we were to look at any type of a bearish trade, we want to be looking for targets somewhere around those areas. I don't think we're going to get there, but we have obviously some more moving averages here down below. But you never know. We'll see. The market right now is looking like we could just go sideways the whole day, right? And there's, as far as I know, I looked. So Emily had posted in Slack this morning, no economic news today. So only one Fed speaking at 8 a.m. But yeah, so didn't see any type of a reaction there at 8 a.m. So no economic news. So we're not looking at any type of a catalyst potentially in terms of news related stuff. So could just be a sideways day today. Take a look at Amazon. So nice doji on Friday, right? So you have this doji at the bottom of this move. Jesse's posting in the chat saying VIX still up a bit today. Yeah. So we have this doji from Friday, really nice doji at the bottom of this move, right? Technical analysis will tell us that a doji at the bottom of the move looking for a potential then bounce. But again, we'll see. We are trading. You can see here, if I zoom into the price action, we are right inside Friday's range right now. So here's the high from Friday. Here's the low. We have pre-market high, pre-market low. So it's an inside day here. We do have some overhead resistance in the form of this is the 20 EMA on the daily. Here's the 100. There's the 10. We have the 50 simple moving average down here on the daily. If we were roll over, we would want to be targeting that for it's pretty far away, but could get there. But anyway, we do have some moving average in and around current price action that we'll keep an eye on. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD, a lot of lines here. All right. AMD, we have some major moving averages that we are in between right now. So this is on the monthly. Here's the 10, here's the monthly 20, right? So we're right in between here. Here's the weekly 50, providing overhead resistance. I'm going to go into the month real quick, make sure that those lines are, yeah, okay, they're right on. I want to make sure that I had adjusted those from Friday. I did. So lots of moving averages in and around the current price action. I can remove this line. We don't need this one. I think I was looking at a potential setup on Friday, left that line on there. So we have the 10 EMA. Let's go into the daily look. So intraday, 3-minute here, pre-market. Here's our high from Friday. Here's a low. So we're looking at an inside day currently in terms of price action, but we're trading in and around right now. This is the 10 EMA on the daily. right? So we have that. That's where price action is right now. We're above it. Now we're below it. We're right up against it right now. Here's the, this is the, again, the 10 EMA on the monthly. Here is the weekly 50 right up here, right? So lots of moving averages in and around the current price action on AMD. So those, again, are things you want to have on your chart, areas that you want to be aware of. Doesn't, you know, look, price can just blow through these levels, but you want to be aware of them. So when you are setting up a trade, you want to just make sure that you do have the risk versus reward that you're looking for, in terms of, like, if I get into a trade, I want to make sure I can get to my target before I would hit one of these major moving averages, ideally. All right. Let's see. Apple. Looked at Apple earlier today. So Apple here, Friday, bounced right off of, here is this line right here. Here is the weekly 100, and it bounced perfectly right off of it. And it closed, well, I'm sorry, it opened here right around the 10 EMA. So it's moved, you know, the 10 EMA would have been at a different location on Friday, but we're sitting, 10 EMA is right here on the, you can, if I zoom in here on the 3-minute chart, you can see we've got the 10 EMA here. So again, similar to AMD, a lot of moving averages in and around current price action. So, but it bounced right off of this 100 on Friday. And then here's the 50. And to the point I just made is that, you know, these moving averages, you want to be aware of them. Doesn't mean that they won't go through them. I mean, if you look at Friday, right? I mean, here's this, you know, the weekly 50 right through Friday's price action, and it didn't respect it at all. It just kept violating that level over and over. So, you know, price can, but again, when you're setting up your trades, you just want to be aware of where those levels are. And again, ideally, if you're setting up, you want to make sure that you can get a target before, or, you know, before you would encounter those lines, ideally. Let's see, price action. So we are looking at, where are we now? Okay, so pre-market, we did break above Friday's high. We did get above it here. We're back below. Here's the high from Friday is this green line right here. All right, Alex, we'll take a look at Microsoft in a second. Because after Apple, we're going to start looking for some gaps. So if Microsoft is gapping up, take a look. So we did get above Friday's price action. We're back down below it right now, but we do have the potential support here with the weekly 50 here. Nothing immediately overhead in terms of moving averages. So if we do end up going bullish on Apple, the targets would be, you know, price target would be up in here, right? This would be, so we do have some room to run here. So if we do end up going bullish, that would be an area to target for profit. I would also mark out this area here as well, just to be aware. That's, you know, is obviously on this day, but this is all inside day. And we talked about this on Friday. I mean, Apple, right now, look at this. This is, you know, from this candle here on February 3rd, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside days, right? Still to this candle. We still have not picked a direction. So there's a lot of pressure building on Apple right now. So this is the key candle here, this candle on February 23rd. That's the one that you really want to be keying in on in terms of once price action breaks in a direction, whether it goes bullish or bearish, right, above this candle, because this is just, all this is doing right now is just building pressure. But we do have a lot of moving averages down here as well. All right, there's Apple. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Alex had mentioned Microsoft, and then we'll take a look at, we have about, 11 minutes. We got plenty of time to look at some stuff. Okay, and then Jay's throwing out NSC, but let's take a look at Microsoft. All right, so Microsoft. And I'm going to throw Microsoft down here on another screen. So I have that chart there. All right, what are we looking at? So yeah, so we've got a gap up here on Microsoft. So we have Friday's high. So gap up, let's see, the high of this is 264.09. Actually, just throwing the right colors. All right, so when I look at that screen, so there's a high from yesterday, Friday. So we have a gap up. So bullish candle Friday, gapping up. We've got a bullish retest gap. So, again, but when you think about this gap, right, and you consider, okay, well, yes, it's gapping, but is it causing fear and greed? And my answer is not really, right? It's gapping up, but anybody who would have gone bearish on these days right here, right? We are gapping, let's just throw in a level here, right? So we're right in here. So these people are not panicking, right? So yeah, we've got a gap up. It's a retest gap. Could it run? Of course it can run. But in terms of the overall impact with the emotional impact, these people are not panicking right now, right? If it were gapping above the high here, okay, there's some panic, right? There are going to be people trapped. But right now with this gap, nobody's trapped here. Anybody who went short on these days, on the 8th and the 9th, they're not panicking, right? They've got their stops up here somewhere. So this little gap up is not concerning to them, but it's worth keeping an eye on, right? I mean, it's, we are looking at trading it intraday. So, this is, it could continue to move bullish today. So I will have that on my list. We'll keep an eye on it. But just in terms of the overall feel of it, there's not a ton of emotional impact here on this gap. But I do have it on a different screen down below. Let's take a look at NSC. NSC. All right, so gap down, yeah, and low volume. Yeah, so good job picking up on that. Yeah, so this is, about 1,400 shares here, and then there's just like little sporadic prints. This particular one, 2,000 shares. Yeah, so there's not a ton of volume, but it is gapping down. I'm curious who threw that in there. It was Jay. Jay, is that something, is this is not something I've traded personally. Is it something that you've traded before, Jay? Or is it just a just looking for gaps? Okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with this particular. I've not traded it. It sounds to me like some type of maybe transportation. Norfolk Southern. Is it like maybe railway or some other type of transportation? Let's zoom out a little bit. I mean, well, that's interesting. Overall, it has decent volume. I'm just moving my cursor here along here. Yeah, sometimes it drops low, like right here. Here's a 600,000 shares a day, and there was, I think over here there was 800. So it dips a little bit in terms of the volume, but overall the volume's good. It's over 1 million shares on average. Looks like 520 got a little light over here. So I'm not sure what the bid ask spread would be on this. Just something to be aware of. Just if you do go to trade this, I'm again, I don't know. It could have a wide bid ask spread. I'm not sure. All right, let's take a look at so volume wise, it doesn't fit my criteria, my personal trading plan, right? I'm looking for a minimum of 10,000 shares traded pre-market. So, but we'll keep an eye on it. Let's see. Let me go to my scanner. So here's my pre-market scanner. I looked at some of these before. I'm just throwing it up here. I'll move it out of the screen in a second. You know, Meta gapping up. Here's Microsoft. Zillow, that I don't think that was on before. Twilio, I don't remember seeing that before, but you know, you got Fastly up here. It's already over 10%, right? So we'll take a look at it, and then we have some gap downs here. But okay, let me move this out of the way. We'll run through some of these. Again, when I look at the gaps, so we have 5 minutes before market open. When I'm looking at these gaps, you know, especially on a day when today there's not that many, but on a day when there's a lot of gaps, I just look for those tickers that I'm familiar with, that I've traded previously, and that I know how they move. Let me just do this real quick. Go through a couple of these. All right, so DraftKings, yeah, it's slight gap. It's showing a gap, but it's inside, so nothing jumping out there. AXSM, Vaughn is throwing out there. Yep, looking very good potential. Need to get rid of this. There we go. Yeah, it's stair stepping up, so it's coming right up into the low from Friday. And so therapeutic, so it looks like it's some type of a bio company. Vaughn, have you traded this one before, or just looking at gaps? I typically myself I typically don't trade like biotech and therapeutic companies. Yeah, let's so Meta did break the high from I'm going to throw Meta on a different chart down here. We'll keep an eye on Meta as it at the open. All right, so Meta did break the high pre-market, broke the high from Friday. It's back inside. So if it does get above here, right? So we had a bearish candle on Friday. It is not currently gapping above it, but I'll throw it down here on the list. We'll keep an eye on it. I know that there are people here who trade Meta regularly. Hertz. So Hertz, looking at a gap up. Hertz could be interesting. Now, Hertz is not traded. I remember looking at this, I think, on Friday. Hertz is not traded on the funded account. But if you're trading the fund account, be aware of that it's not something that you're going to be able to trade. But we do have a potential bullish gap and go here on the funded account. I mean, on Hertz. So throw that on your list if you are trading out of a personal account and not your funded account. Let's see, volume wise. Volume isn't great, but it's worth keeping an eye on. Pre-market volume, right? It's kind of spotty. Currently, it's up 3%. So that's a decent gap in terms of the percentage. Just doesn't have a ton of volume right now. Zillow, all right. So Zillow, nice gap, would be a bullish retest gap. But again, volume looks light. Volume is light on Zillow. It would be you would be gapping into, let's see, 45. Where are we right now? 44, 45. So gapping somewhere into this area here, right? Not clearing any pivots. So, all right. Yep. Win is calling out. We have 1 minute to market open. Let's just see. What else? There was Twilio. Twilio's 7% right now. So Twilio would be also a bullish retest gap. Right. That's a nice look right there. Right. Keep an eye on Twilio. That's worth. I'm going to write that down here on a piece of paper I have. That's I don't know. I don't recall if that's traded in the funded account or not. I think I've looked at it before, but pretty nice move right here. Whatever the let's see what the news is. Partnering with parting ways. Okay. All right, so some type of news catalyst here on Twilio. All right, I'm going to sign off here with YouTube. Thank you for being with us. Would love for you to come over and join us at Real Life Trading. Just go to reallifetrading.com. We have a great group of traders. We are together every single day of the week from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. So the All Access Pass, check it out. Would love to have you join